Hey, Life Groups, thank you so much for gathering again this week as we journey through the life of Moses. And this week, we looked at a powerful and sobering section of Exodus in chapter 7 through 11, where we saw what happens when someone refuses to follow God. And specifically, we saw what it cost Pharaoh when he resisted the Lord. Now, it all starts with God commanding Moses to confront Pharaoh, but God also makes it clear that Pharaoh's heart would be hard. Why? Well, because of his sin, because of his pride, and because of his refusal to submit to God's authority. God didn't make Pharaoh evil. Pharaoh was already sinful and rebellious, just like we are apart from grace. And Scripture reminds us in Romans chapter 3, there is no one that is righteous, not even one. And we saw two main realities in Pharaoh's life. And the first was a hardened heart. Pharaoh refused to humble himself over and over again. Even seeing the miracles and experiencing the plagues, he exalted himself. Pride was the root of his rebellion. And that's a warning sign for us too, because pride puts us in the place that only God deserves. When we elevate self, we invite confrontation with God. Secondly, just judgment. Because of Pharaoh's hardened heart, God brought judgment. The plagues weren't just random acts, they were specific targeted blows against the false gods of Egypt. God was showing his power, his justice, and his supremacy. And still, Pharaoh would only cry out when things got bad, but he never truly repented. He just wanted relief, not transformation. And I think if we're honest with ourselves and honest with each other, that sounds a lot like us as well. But we were challenged to consider how many times we've done the same thing, called out to God during hardship, but went right back to our pride when things got better. This cycle leads us to brokenness, and not just in us, but in our marriages, in our families, and in our communities. Sin always has collateral damage, but Matt reminded us in his message that it doesn't end there. The story doesn't end there. We saw that even in the judgment, God has a purpose. And he said to Pharaoh, "For this purpose I have raised you up to show you my power, so that my name might be proclaimed in all the earth." And we're reminded of Joseph's story too, that what others meant for evil, God meant for good. And God can use our pain, our rebellion, and our consequences to bring about his greater plan of redemption to the world around us. So the question we have to answer is, are we ready to give up our throne? Will we turn from our pride and our self-reliance and humbly submit to God? Because the good news is that Jesus took the judgment that we deserve. He bore the weight of our hardened hearts on the cross so we could receive new hearts and eternal peace. So let's take that truth into our groups this week, and let's get real about who's on the throne of our lives. Enjoy your discussion today.